Welcome this afternoon. My name's Dante St. James. I'm part of Facebook Community Trainer Network and also part of Treaty Business Consulting that's in the Northern Territory, but we operate across a lot of states as well. You may have heard of the Australian Small Business Advisory Services Digital Solutions Program, or ASBAS Digital Solutions. It's a digital program run by the Australian government. So yeah, if you've got any of that, any of those digital kind of things, asbas.com.au will help you there. And Business Station helps us out with that in Western Australia specifically. Today, it's going to be a little bit more of an open session. I do have some presentation stuff I can show you with regards to Instagram and not so much Reels, but at least Instagram as a business and some of the additional features. But I'm guessing that most of you have really used Facebook and Instagram pretty much to the hilt. So if there's any sort of, massive things that come up, if you can put them into the group chat, I'll put the Q&A up there as well. The Q&A is always a really easy way to actually, no, sorry, this is the group chat will do. I'm not in a webinar today, I'm on a regular call. So just in the group chat, if something comes up that you'd like to know about Facebook or Instagram, I'll answer the best I can. Anything I can't answer, I've got my, my superiors down in Sydney who'll be able to help me out and sort of lead me in the right direction for you. So let's, I guess, get underway. A lot of what we'll be looking for is the ability for us to look at the new version of Facebook. If you can give me an idea in the group chat, or if you haven't seen the new version of Facebook, if you're only seeing the old version, like the same Facebook you've always been able to see, nothing that's ever come up. If you haven't seen the new Facebook, give me an indication there. This will be quite an education for you, I imagine. You'll be looking at something that you don't see yourself. I'll just share my screen. And here we go. So on the desktop, and it's important to note that the new version of Facebook only really shows on, now just making sure you can actually see that because it's not indicating on my screen whether it is coming up or not. But if you can see pretty much my Facebook, you can see different messages coming in from my friends, different stuff in the feed coming in from my people. In that, you'll see there's a bit of a different layout. Now, this is only the new layout for desktop. The mobile doesn't change at all. In fact, what's happened here is that the desktop version of Facebook is mimicking the mobile version of Facebook. So if I pull this across, and let me just get rid of some stuff behind here so we're not seeing everything else. If I pull it across, it starts to look a lot more like the mobile app. See how you got the line of the stories along the top, what's on your mind. You can start to enter all those things in. So once you start to see that it's almost exactly the same as the mobile, it doesn't look quite so sinister or different. Stretch it back out to the full width and you start to see, oh yeah, okay, I'm starting to now see how the mobile and the desktop now are pretty much the same thing. So what you see on the app is eventually going to be kind of what you're going to see on the desktop as well. But as you'd know, if you ever run ads or anything like that, your desktop is going to be where the extended functionality is. So first things first, this is your feed. You know the feed, you use the feed. Everyone's been in the feed. We understand how that works. All the normal stuff that's in there. Hopefully nothing naughty is going to come up. I don't subscribe to any naughty things. I think the naughtiest thing I've got is probably the Kath and Kim Appreciation Society. It's about as naughty as it gets. And then down the left, you're going to see what your shortcuts are to the various functions. So you've got your pages over on the left. You've got any sort of friend requests that might have come up now down on the left. A link through to your Messenger is in there as well. If I tap on Messenger, it's actually going to take me to my full Messengers inbox. I don't know what that's going on there. So you can start to see that there's links through to the full Messenger inbox. Now, another little trick that if you want to have a distraction-free day and you only want to see messages, you don't want to see the regular Facebook here, you can go in and just type in messenger.com and that will take you to your Facebook Messenger without all the usual Facebook stuff. As you see there, you'll start to see that it's just Messenger, no link through to Facebook, no Facebook feed coming up. This is just Facebook Messenger all on its own on your desktop. And that works on any browser and on any kind of computer. For me, that's a lifesaver when I still need to get my messages through on my desktop, but I don't want to be distracted by all the noise that's going on down the feed. It keeps me focused on just using this as a messenger thing. So back to the feed now. You'll notice that down the left, you've also got the ability to be able to expand that more to all the other functions. So if you're wondering where your events went to, they're in that see more area under events. Links to those regular things like marketplace and videos. So that's where you find your videos and any fundraisers that are going on. This could be a really interesting place to check on your own fundraiser, or you can look at what fundraisers are on that are relevant to you or in your area. It's also where your groups are listed. Now, bearing in mind, as you start to use any of these more, yours might be in very different, a very different order to me. That order has been automatically designed to be working mostly for me. So it's got my pages first because it knows I manage a lot of them. And I've got 9 new notifications across my pages. Friend requests will always be towards the top as well. It knows that I'm a very heavy user of Messenger. It's probably more than SMS these days. And that I do a lot of events. So it's putting those first, whereas I'm not as involved in groups or running groups. And I'm not a gamer and haven't really done much with gaming videos or even videos at all, really. So it tends to push those a little bit down the list, whereas yours might be looking different. If you're someone who is operating a lot of groups, you may find that groups sits more up towards the top where Messenger is for me. And that's also where you're going to start to see things like links through to the virtual reality, the new Facebook Pay system, Messenger for kids, if that's a thing that you do with your kids. What offers are available in your area can be a really nice one as well, or if you've got any offers that you're currently running. And you can see your recent ad activity. So for instance, I can tap there. This is a nice one for me because it takes me into my account and shows me what I've been boosting and what ads have been going on around my interests and around myself as well. So I'll see what I've also been doing with the ads that have been coming up. So this one, this Grow Your Business one came up. That's something I clicked on the 10th of September. So if you ever want to see, oh my goodness, I saw this ad and I remember I liked it, but I've lost it now, the ad activity tab is going to be your best friend. So I'm going to go back again, show you where that is under See More. And we're looking for ad activity, recent ad activity. This has been so much more useful to me than I thought it would be, simply because there's so many times I see an ad and go, oh, I remember I saw it, but what was it? Where is it? You can go back through your saved ads. So if you've been saving things to ads, so I've been saving all sorts of ads that have had some sort of interest to me, and also what your recent ads that you've had some kind of interaction with that you liked, if you clicked yes on it or something like that. Also on that See More, you're going to find where your ads manager is. So if you're running ads in the Facebook ads manager, it's in there, as well as all your memories that come up. This is a nice, easy place to go and see any memories that have come up to want to put on there. So 3 years ago on this day today, a friend found an ibis because they seem to think I really like ibises. And so I posted on the Facebook, and it gives me a nice place where I can run through my recent, back when I used to actually go to a gym. Like, that's crazy. I used to go to a gym once upon a time. So it's a nice little place to go back and look through all your personal stuff that you had once upon a time that you may have lost track of. And then you can see where your live videos are if you've ever run live videos, local weather, but we'll skip to probably this one here is your ads, taking you into the Facebook ads manager and where you may be running ads for different pages. So now once we've worked out that little piece, I'm just going to refresh that again so we get a fresh version. We start to move down into what your shortcuts are. And your shortcuts are great because you can set these. So I don't know if you've already got that. For me, it's just showing me the things that I've been in recently and I do a lot of work with. So whether it's the Darwin Pride Festival, My Business Clickstarter, or Treaty Business Consulting who I work for, or the Skull International Club that I work for in Darwin as well and do some volunteer work for, it shows me they're the things that I tend to be in quite a lot, really good shortcuts, but I can edit that and move them around. So I've got that one pinned to the top. I don't need that one pinned to the top. I'm going to sort that one automatically. Also sort automatically, or you can say if there's one particular thing that you really want to have at the top out of all the pages, groups and games that you have some sort of affiliation with, you can find them in there. So if I put one page I need to go to a lot is one of the people I work with. So I'll pin that one at the top because that's very important to me. Another one might be a group, which is the FB Community Trainer Network. So I'm going to pin that one to the top because that's something I'm always going to look for. And then the other one is another group called the Boost with Facebook Australia group, which I help moderate. So I'll pin that to the top. So now my shortcuts are the things that I choose to go to the most. So most people didn't know that you could actually change what sits in your shortcuts. That's another great little advantage there. And then down the right, you've got, a few ads. We've got to have ads. Any sort of major thing that's coming from your pages, as well as any birthday notifications and your contacts for your Facebook, Messenger stuff. In there, you'll also see any friend requests that come up in the last 24 hours. You'll see those as well. So for the basics of where everything is, you're going to find most things down the left instead of at the top. And most of your notification stuff is still going to sit under your notification bell. So you can see all that. And your messenger is still available at the top as well. But if you want to add some things, this is where the world changed a little bit. How do I add a post to a group? The plus is now your home to create almost anything. So that plus is going to start a new post on your newsfeed, start a new story, add a life event like you've got married or you've met in my case, your third partner of the year. You'll have a new page. So you want to start a new page and you start an ad group, set up a new event. So what it's done is consolidated all those actions you normally went to lots of different sections for into one thing where I'm going to add whatever I like out of all these things. I can start a fundraiser. I can list something in Marketplace. All the new stuff now appears under that plus. So you've got one place to add something new to everything, no matter where it is on Facebook. So if you've got any questions so far about what your feed and homepage is going to look like, just whack them in the group chat there. And if there's something which you normally know how to find, but no longer know how to find, please let me know because I'd love to be able to show you where that is as well. I think though, where most of the questions are going to come from is probably from your pages. What's changed in pages, and perhaps what's also changed in groups. So I'm going to go through to a page, say the treaty. I might go to this one actually, Click Starter, because I know there's some things I've got in there which are a little bit different. One of the things that has come up for pages that people used to do things called notes, and notes were a kind of like a way that you could blog in Facebook. So you're able to use Facebook as a place to post much longer format posts, what they called notes. And notes are not something that were ever really particularly easy to find because they weren't something that was too heavily encouraged, but they're still here. So in my case, I've made sure that my notes are showing in my more. So remember what we used to have on our pages, we used to have a menu down the side that contained all the different ways to access stuff on your page. So your actual tabs are now at the top here, and your admin tools are all down the left. So down the left here, we can do things like manage our shop, and we'll take a look at what that is very shortly as well. Manage all your notifications. If you've used lead ads, you can use the little CRM feature called the Lead Center. That's only for people who've created ads that collect leads before. It's like a little built-in CRM or customer relationship management software that's part of your Facebook page. Publishing tools is an interesting one because quite often people kind of miss that they once upon a time were able to schedule their posts ahead, and they're like, where has that now gone to? And quite a while there, they were posting a link that says to use the publishing tools. You probably also notice I have a fair few bugs going on mine. I'm running a lot of extra baggage on my Google Chrome. So I'm just going to disable a few browser plugins here because I think they're causing me a few problems. So that one, let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of the video downloader, and we'll get rid of the image downloader, see if that helps us out a bit. There we go. Immediately, everything starts coming up. So now we've got like lots of notifications that come up to you about your page. So our business priorities, I don't need to action that right now. So anything really important is going to come up on there, and it's going to give you little prompts here if you want to boost things to get to more people. But this is basically what the Outlook is now. Now, a lot of people have gone to a lot of trouble forming what we call the My Story section. So if I was to flip this back, I can switch to Classic just for now, but it's just about to go missing. So I'm going to switch this back to what the original page looked like. So you now start to see this Our Story on the left, on the right-hand side here. This has now moved to nowhere. It's actually gotten rid of it altogether. It no longer exists. And what you would have noticed is that this menu here now appears on the top in the new layout, but the Our Story now is gone altogether. So I'm going to flip that back again. So you'll see the difference. So all my actions, all the stuff that was across the top is now along the sides. All the stuff that was on the sides is now on the top. So a bit of a flip there. But we get our insights about, you know, all the stuff that we know on here. You still have the ability to lay out things slightly different in your pages. Now you might remember that in the settings, if I find those on the left, you've still got the ability to use templates and tabs. So the templates and tabs lets you select a specific template for the kind of business you're running. So in this one, if we go, say, if it's a service, which is what they're recommending, or shopping, if I've got products to sell, it will lay out the page slightly different. It'll highlight and pin different things to different places. So let's just say, for instance, I'm going to highlight myself as shopping. I'm going to sell stuff online. It's telling me that the buttons that are on the toolbar are like, follow, share, and save. The tabs that are viewable at the top will be these guys. And I can preview that what's going to sit under the more area. So remembering that we're talking more about, if I go back here and go back into the page. So these tabs here, that's what it's talking about when it's saying what the tabs are that are going to show on the top. So I've got shop at the moment, which is kind of silly because this is a service. It doesn't need to be there. So I can go to my templates and tabs under my settings again and change that around. I don't need the shop even showing because we're not selling anything. So get rid of the shop. What do I want to show first? Do I want a list of my services? Probably not for now, but I would like my events to be showing. So I'm saying that it'd be home followed by events. I want my notes to show fairly high up as well. Don't really need jobs because I don't have any jobs, I'm not hiring at the moment. Or I might want to have my about section is going to sit up there as well. And I can use these dots on the left to drag things around. So if I want my about to be the first thing that's seen on the page, not the posts necessarily, and then maybe show my events and maybe a few notes as well before it starts showing things like videos and photos. So now I've made those changes. That's automatically going to save itself. I'll go back to my page. And now we see that up here hasn't quite refreshed yet. Let's refresh it again. There you go. So about, events, notes are now the things that show up first. So I'm not showing the things in that same area. But now on the right-hand side, we don't get the choice of saying what's going to be the thing that shows up first. Now it goes straight to posts. So it's only now telling you that it's going to show what the tabs are across here and what the order of the blocks are going to be down here. Only you see that. Only you see that. So once the general public won't see those. But you remember in the templates and tabs, I did a layout and said, I want to see about first. And then I want to see my photos and videos and upcoming events. So it's actually put my photos and videos on top. I actually want my upcoming events to be above all that because they're much more important to me. So I can go into my settings again, my templates and tabs, and I go, okay, I want events showing up really high about, I don't want my videos showing up that high. In fact, I probably want my photos above my videos and see if that makes a difference at all. Are you going to save? Yes, we are. Go back and refresh my page. Let's see if it moves them around. There's still a few bugs here and there, but it has become a lot more stable, particularly in the last 2 weeks. I think as they're telling us that we're changing over full time to the new layout. Come on. Here we go. So I've got my about section, like I said, my photos, my videos. It still wants my events under it. So there's a bug there that doesn't allow me to have my events first. That's okay. At some point, that will refresh and I'll have the events showing up before the videos and the photos. But having the photos showing up, that's what I wanted. And then the page transparency. This is something that I was surprised by how few businesses actually knew what this is. Page transparency is appearing on all Facebook pages and has done for quite some time. What it allows you to do is to understand a bit more information about every Facebook page. Now, for you as business owners, this one's going to be really good for you because you're able to research your competitors in there. So if you go see all, it's going to tell you, yeah, we know that. Yeah, okay, it was created then, don't really care. Are there people working on it? I used to have someone in the Philippines working on it. No so much now. They're all in Australia, so I brought it back in-house. And the ads from this page. Now, this is an interesting one. If you want to see what ads your competitors are running, go to their Facebook page, click on the page transparency, and then go to Ad Library. And it's going to take you to this service called Facebook's Ad Library. It's telling me we're not running any ads here, but I might look for others who are like me. So let's say there's a company called Captivate, who are one of my competitors. Here they are. So it's telling me straight away at a glance how many people follow them. So I can compare that to me if that's important to me. And it's also telling me that, yeah, they're not running any either. And they've got a couple of people offshore who are doing work for them as well. But if I was to say, go to somewhere where I know is advertising right now, which is Treaty Business Consulting in the Northern Territory. In here, well, I thought we were running ads, obviously we're not. But in here, you would start to see stuff that is running ads and stuff that aren't. So Tourism Top End might be a really good example. See if they're running ads. No, because there's no tourism at the moment. We're not having a good time here, are we? Maybe if we go for, say, Bankwest. So Bankwest have got to be running some ads somewhere. Yep, they've got one, two. They've got a few ads here. So you can actually see the list of how many ads are being run. And if you wanted to see if there was anything to do with politics from any businesses or any sort of other things. So if we went for, say, the Palmer United Party, I'm pretty sure he's running a whole bunch of stuff in Western Australia at the moment. So we go, yep, he's running a lot of ads. So some he launched in August, running some in September. So Clive's running them. And if we want to see things that are to do with issues and elections, these are the ones that have been, all of them pretty much, that have been identified as being politically sensitive. So in there is a really valuable place to go and research what your competitors are advertising, and you get a really good little one-off little idea that tells you how many people are following certain things. Interestingly, he's got a really heavy following on Facebook and not Instagram. Don't know what that means, but it's interesting. So that page transfer, just bear in mind too that yes, you can see your competitors, but they can also see you. Remembering too, if you've got any questions along the line, please put them into the Zoom group chat. There's no dumb questions. I'd really be interested to see what features you love, which features you hate. If there's any hate on there saying like, can't we just take it back to the old one? As you saw when I went to switch it back, it'd be starting in September. We're going to see that you can only switch back for a maximum of 48 hours until such time we get this new this new layout permanently. So unfortunately, we're going to be a little bit stuck with this one. One of the very interesting things that comes up is how many people hadn't noticed when they go to create posts, whether they are able to do things like the extended stuff. So we're showing here that it's only photos and videos and messages. Go to create a post and it'll show us only a very limited amount of things you can do. So, oh, well, I want to do more than that. I want to be able to do things like polls and stuff. So what we're going to do is go to a brand new area of Facebook that's made especially for businesses. And this is called Creator Studio. So I'm just going to put it in Google, Creator Studio. There it is. Facebook.com/Creator Studio. And this is now a great big home for you for any of the pages that you run. So if I go back to say this one, to post and create posts with a lot more interesting stuff in it. So if I'm going to go just to Treaty Business Consulting, I can see all my posts, all my past engagement, all the reports to do with my business. I can add a Facebook story to that business. So it allows me to create a story. I'll choose that one and it gives me a design. So I can create a text story or a photo story. You can then also download and export these to put into Instagram if you want to send them to that. Unfortunately, at the moment, the Instagram version of this doesn't quite do the stories yet, but that is coming. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do, if you just go here to create post, it gives you a lot more options of what you might want to do. So you can go, upload a video, add a story, add multiple videos, go live. You can also go live from here on your desktop, which is a fantastic thing. You don't have to do it all the time just from your mobile phone and doing funny setups with ring lights. You can now just go live directly from there. You can now publish live to Instagram. So if I go at the top here, Instagram there, this is where I can now post to my Instagram pages as well. So I can create all the usual things, go and do an IGTV and publish that, or publish to the feed, and coming soon, we'll also be able to use it to post to stories. The beautiful thing is now that we can manage all of our stuff in here at once. If you've got monetization, if you're making money as an influencer, you can manage that from here too. And you can read your Instagram insights and look at how people are working on your particular page. Or if I can go to something that's probably got a few more people on it, say this resort in Bali that I've done some work with in the past. I can see, you know, what they've done the last couple of days, how many people they've reached, and get the audience insights as well. So all that stuff that you need to have to do on Instagram on your phone, you can actually do within here in a Creator Studio as part of your Instagram account. So I'll pop back now into Facebook side of it. So if I want to post something, I can do it from here, and it's going to give me all these options. So I'm now starting watch parties, doing an ad, supporting a charity, adding multimedia. Now, depending on the kind of business I'm linked at, you might be able to offer things like polls, stuff like that. So if you go to, say, another page, not that one, let's just say let's go Darwin Pride. Did a bit of work with them on the weekend in Catherine. So if we want to do some sort of thing with that, we can go, yes, post something again and see if there's different stuff that's available in there. Now you notice that you're not seeing polls in there at the moment. Polls, I believe, are only available from the mobile for now. And the reason for that being is actually an optimized for mobile experience. The polls are not always viewable on desktop versions of Facebook. So if you're trying to look for polls, try and do that from your mobile phone. I'll just bring it up and be able to show you the screen, hopefully. So if I go to one of my pages, let's just say my own personal business page. So if I'm now going to go to post something in there, I'm getting more options such as, you know, the background colors, which I believe I'm told are coming as well to the desktop. So the ability to do those background colors on your Facebook pages, not just on your mobile versions, and things like creating jobs, that kind of thing, and offering things like discounts and starting events and adding gifts from in there as well. But it's funny, if just noticed, thanks for bringing that up. I think it was someone asking about the polls going missing. I just noticed the polls have gone missing, but I saw there was a bug about that last week, and it's part of a test that they're doing internally. It's being upgraded to bring into this new layout. So I'll be missing for a day or two this week, but it should be back by the end of the week for you. So if you're missing polls, hopefully they'll be back again very, very shortly. There's certainly no desire to pull polls away. It's a very core function of Facebook as well. Got a question for Mark saying, you've got a question about Facebook shops. With Shopify and BigCommerce, if you have a product that's hidden from your shop, it'll still shop in Facebook shops. Ouch. So what that's going to be a problem that the new version of shops is that Shopify and BigCommerce haven't yet updated their API connection to show that there's an additional option there. And that probably comes to the fact that Facebook hasn't given them access to the new API or the new application interface that allows them to talk to those extra little things. So if you've, I'm guessing that Shopify and BigCommerce, being very big platforms, have already raised that with Facebook. So I'd say there's a very good chance that that's going to be fixed really, really shortly. But I'd say that's all to do with the fact that the new Facebook Shops interfaces come through, and with that has come a whole lot of, you know, unforeseen problems where, you know, if you hide something from a shop on your e-commerce platform, on your Square store, your Wix shopping store, your Shopify store, that it's not necessarily going to be automatically hidden from your Facebook store as well. So the syncing of updates is where they usually have those problems. And I've come across that before, particularly from Weebly's Square stores, where there's a real problem with the interface that Weebly has and the interface that Facebook has, that it does certain things, it'll add everything in, but when you update something from your shop, it's not updating in the Facebook shop. So I think that's probably a very similar thing that's happening with Shopify and BigCommerce. But I'm going to jot that down, Mark. And if I can get an answer for that, I'll just get back in touch with Elaine and Chamber to let them know that I've got some kind of update for you. So let me jot that down and I'll come back to that one if I can get a nice clear answer about it. Another place for asking some great questions about using Facebook for business is the Boost with Facebook Australia group. I don't know if all of you were on my last call that I did, but the Boost with Facebook Australia group is basically a big group. Where are you? Boost with Facebook, where are you? There we go. It's a group basically for businesses around Australia to join in and get support from Facebook on various things. So it got everything from welcoming new people and allowing you to promote your business in the welcome stuff. So we can all sort of get in there, get an idea about it. There's free training that's happening. There's one of my colleagues, Melissa, who's in Moranbah in Queensland, and she's doing a thing on working with retail and advertising on the Facebook platform. And then you've got other things like here's Gemma, who's actually telling us that she had a problem with her Facebook event setup, and we help her out. So Nicole, who's awesome at Facebook in Sydney, helps out as well. I hop in there and help as well. And between us all, we manage to support the business community with that. So yeah, by all means, please jump into that group whenever you can and get some support if you need it. So questions like what Mark had and what Elaine had with not being able to do the polls anymore, they go great in that group, because if I don't have the answer, then maybe Nicole does, or Jasmine, or Alicia, or Jerry is one of the other guys that hops in there quite often. They're actually working with Facebook itself, and they'll be able to help you out, at least point you in the right direction as well. Got a great message here from Simone. Let me just pop back out into a page so we can see something. Is it better to post an event or offer than to do a paid boost, or run all through Facebook ads, post an event? Yeah, so that's a really interesting one. So the rule of thumb would be, I'm just gonna stop the share there, just so, hey. The rule of thumb for boosting and using the ads platform is generally that if it's something short-term, boosting's great, but it's very generalized. You're not gonna get enough time. Something where you don't give the algorithm enough time to learn about who your audience is where you would use a boost. So if it's for a limited time event, say for instance, a webinar next week or a festival in 2 weeks time, where you don't really need the algorithm to learn that much about how it's going because you're not running this for a long time, like a year, then boosting's completely fine. It'll get out to that very broad, very wide audience, but you're not having to worry too much about having to get very advanced targeting over a period of time from Facebook's algorithm. Where it comes in handy to go into the Facebook ads platform is where you're running things over a long period of time, where you want that learning period. So it goes, okay, well, I know you're looking for women between 25 and 39 within 100 kilometers of Perth, but I want to also learn of who are the people within that subset, the subsets within the subsets who are going to respond the best, so that we can go, okay, now we know who to send you because we know the people who are starting to respond. So Facebook creates within itself little lookalike audiences. Once it gets who's responding really well to your ad, then it knows who to keep sending through to it, rather than sort of banging it up against a brick wall trying to flog a dead horse into complying with an ad that these people are not interested in. So short answer is that an event, if you've got any less than a month, is great for boosting. Outside of that, if you're running an event further out, don't go through the Facebook ads platform, because it allows you to put it in that learning process that really helps to make ads convert a whole lot better than just running a boost. Great question, Simone. It's something that actually comes up a lot. People saying, do I really have to use the ads platform? It just seems so complicated to do something really simple. And yeah, it can be really complicated. You can get down to the nitty gritty of like an agency level where they're dealing with hundreds of clients with $100,000 a day ad spends. That's why it's a bit more complicated. But that said, long-term ads manager, short-term boost. I hope that makes a bit of sense for you. Anyone who's saying, oh, don't bother boosting, boosting's crap, boosting's rubbish. I could point to 50 cases where people have run events and run short-term offers and campaigns as boosts and got great success out of them. So yeah, nothing wrong with boosting. Otherwise, I wouldn't say don't boost. I just say long-term ads platform, short-term boost. Also very, very small budgets. Like, so you're talking about, when I say very small, it's a bit different for everyone what that means, but a very small budget means any less than $50 in a week. Then you'd be looking at boosting and ads platform are kind of much of a muchness. It's not going to make a much of a deal, but if you're running it for a long period of time, $50 a week or 3 months, for instance, then do it in the ads platform. You get way better value and way better targeting for the kind of audience you're after. These are great questions. Keep them coming through. I really appreciate that. Okay, we'll hop in now to things that operate not in groups, something else into pages again. So we looked at the layout of pages. Now it's probably good to look at things that you might have gone missing that we're using, like those notes that I was talking about before. Now, notes are something where they're trying to phase them out, but they're not taking them away from you. So you're still able to use notes. So I can still create a note, but I can't do it from just simply creating a post and choosing a type of a post that's called a note. I would have to do it as part of the notes tab on my page. And then I can add a note from there. Now, the problem is the notes aren't going to be something they're going to be looking to put there, but notes are really quite a cool thing. That's very good that you asked there, Elaine. What is a note? Let me show you a note. So I use notes quite extensively on this particular business because it allows us to put, it's almost like a blog post. So you think of posting an article to, say, LinkedIn, or posting something to Medium, and probably most of you won't know what Medium is, but you're posting a blog article, right, to a blog platform. This is what allows you to do it. So I go into my notes on this particular page. You'll see that I've got a various lot of these, and they're in this sort of different layout. And this is how they'll appear in the feed as well. They look very different to a regular post. So I go, okay, this one I wrote on the 13th of August. When I open that up, you'll see that it looks just like a blog post would anywhere. It's so much. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing, am I? Thank you for that, Elaine. Let me go back a few steps. Forgot that I didn't share. So I've got my notes. This is what they look like when they're showing on the feed. So on the feed, they'll appear very, very different. Yes, Simone, it wasn't just you, it was all me, that one. And you got the notes that show up in a lot bigger format than what a normal post would. So you've got the option to put like a nice little header message in there. So in this one, I've done a header that's shaped in such a way that it actually fits in an extra title. So if we look at this one, it's going to come up and show me something that looks just like a blog. So a big header image. Information gives me a reading time of 5 minutes. Very, very similar to something like Medium. If you've ever read things on Medium, looks really similar, and also to that. I can insert links into it. This is one thing that notes do that you can't do on a regular one. You can insert lots of links, not just one, more. So you can go and listen to this particular article where I've set it up over on Audio Boom, which is my podcast platform. I can insert even more photos down. I haven't done it this one, but notice how I've got now formatting. I've got text formatting. So if I go in there to edit this note, you'll see that I've got lots of extra tools that allow me to type in a lot more than just a regular post. So if you're already writing a blog for your website, or if you've got somewhere where you're putting articles into, may not be on your website, maybe in other platforms like LinkedIn, if you're doing articles there, you can copy and paste that in here. So you've got an extra place to have them, and they do appear on the feed. Now, I won't say they're favored over other content, but when they show up, they really, really, they show up well. Now, there's no indication, good question from Elaine, there's no indication that notes are being removed. They're just not being featured as much anymore. So you'll still have your notes for now. There's no indication of them being removed altogether. It's just more of a case of, it's not a core feature of pages on Facebook, but they don't look like they're really taking them away at all. But as less people use them, I'd say over the next 2 years, there might be a very good chance that those will go away. That said, the content in them, if you've got notes already, will stay available on your page. You just may not be able to add new ones in the future. So if you look at a note, I can look at adding a link into something. So type a link in there, or I can make it bold, italics. I can format my text. So this text is an H2. I can also choose an H1 or turn it into a quote. Back to an H2. and I can insert links as I'm going along. I can also go, okay, I want to insert another photo in there. So I go number one, photo, or I can embed code such as a YouTube video or a podcast, say from my podcast platform that I use. So for now, it's very much staying in there, not really taking it away. Bullet points and numbered bullet points as well. You can put those in, and you can add code as well. So if you've got a particular code that you want to embed in there from any sort of outside content, they'll come in there as well. So they're a really nice little tool. No indication that they're going away. They're just not featured that much anymore. But it does give you another place to put your content into that will show up in a much better way. So when it comes up on the feed, it looks like this rather than just the standard everyday kind of post. So yeah, please explore notes. Now to get notes, you'll have to actually add the notes to your page. It won't be automatically showing there as something where you can do it again. So we can go into, say, one of these pages. That one's already got it. Let's go back one. Go to a page I know that doesn't have notes, which I think is my page. Yep, no notes in this one. So it's giving me the option to now edit my tabs from this more because you're logged in, it's your page. That's going to be handy. You don't have to go through all those different menu items. And I go, okay, what else can I add in here? Ah, notes, here it is. I can add notes and I can move my notes up a bit if I want them to show first or whatever. And so once I come out of there, go back to my page, might need to do a bit of a refresh to make it show up fresh. And as it refreshes now, we should have notes drop in right there. So that's a nice little trick that I hadn't even noticed was there before. If you go to the more, you can actually go and edit your tabs from there as well. So that's a much quicker way to do it. Things we discover as we're going along there. It's awesome. You're now able to also not just, now this is a really good idea here. Once upon a time, you could only boost Facebook stuff from Facebook, but this is another new feature as well. The ability to be able to boost a post on Instagram, not just a post that's on Facebook. So the whole idea is to bring the platforms all together a lot more so you can do a lot more of that all together stuff from here. But also the best place to do all that would definitely be here from your Creator Studio, because it allows you to dig back through all your stories, your playlists, any clips you've had in there. You can save video clips and you can actually clip things into a small little format where you can then use them later on. You can look at the timeline of posts on any particular page you did. So I'll show you in order what the activity on each one of those pages are. Really useful if you've got multiple people who are doing this with you. Gosh, we did get up to a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I'm not one of the ones in those dresses on the trampoline. They look like they're having a ball. And you can start to look at things like your extra creative tools. So you've got what your live dashboard is. So this is all the stuff you'll do before you start streaming on Facebook Live. Now, I think there's a lot of sighs of relief came to people when they realized that you can go live directly from the desktop now. You don't have to go live just from phones, but you've also got a whole lot of tools that help you to do a lot better with it, such as things like tagging the games or whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to live stream, whether it's gaming or you're self-talking, that you've got tools now to add more interaction to each one of those live streams. And of course, when we're going to create posts, there's a video editor. But what I really like is these extra crash courses they throw in there that allow you to go, okay, how do I do video now? How do I learn how to curate my content a lot better in here? What are the things I can do? Of course, in here too, allows you to go and create your posts, not just to post now, but you now get the scheduling option, the ability to be able to backdate it or schedule it ahead. Now, what would be really nice if you could put one post in here and then select how many different pages to send it to. They're not quite going to that level yet, but it would be fun if they managed to do that. That'd be great to be able to post it all from one place just the once. Get back out of there. And then back into Instagram at the top. So in the Creator Studio, always going backwards and forwards from your Facebook to your Instagram. And they've got like all these new things. These have just appeared in the last week. The ability to be able to tag people in your photos and to turn off comments. So if you've got like if you've been getting a few really bad comments and you want to turn off comments because it's ended up being something that was quite controversial, or there's some trolls on there, you can actually turn off comments from in here. So you can say, I no longer want to have comments in here. Let's view a post. You can see the analytics of an individual post. And if I wanted to, if it was something which was a bit older, I could edit the post and turn off the comments as well. So your advanced settings, turn off commenting. So I could set that to go, I don't want to have comments anymore. Let's go. And then I can also then, if I want to have a business partner who I've got access to be a business partner of, so they have to be a page that you have the permission to do that with. In the case of these guys, they might have a business partnership with, I don't know, maybe Jetstar. There you go, Jetstar Australia. And then I approve to tag that, but they approve to tag maybe someone else, like, I don't know, Betty Banks. Yep. No, maybe not. So there's different, whoever you've been approved to tag in there. So for instance, if I was at a festival and we had a partnership with Great Northern Beer, then we'd be able to tag them in there as well if we missed it later on. Another way to really increase your SEO and the findability of your, if you've made your page public, if you want your images on Facebook to be searchable through Google, this is a great thing to do, is add words like cocktail, outside, Clove Tree Hill, overlooking the rice terraces, near Mount Batakaru. And by saving that, I'm saying I want to add extra information so that those photos are much easier to find, not on Facebook only, but also on Google. Now, Reels is that new thing on Instagram, which is really, really cool. The only problem we have with Reels is it is a mobile thing. So I can't do Reels live on here. So if I go to into the Instagram desktop, when I go to, I can't create new content in here. I'd have to create it from the Creator Studio. And the Creator Studio at the moment doesn't give us the option to create Reels, only Instagram feed stuff and IGTV. But Reels are essentially a tool that allows you to stitch together different parts of videos. So an example would be that I am wearing, you have to picture this pretty loudly, but I've got a blonde wig on and I'm wearing a red dress. And I want to do that thing where I go clap. And at the point I clap, it magically changes to me in a brunette wig and a blue dress, for instance. Probably something that's a little less cross-dressy. Maybe when I go along to a mute, so you can have music in the background of it, just like TikTok, where you have music, and at some point in the video you do a snap, and with that snap, suddenly it changes to a different scene, or it changes the color of the scene. So the idea is to be able to stitch together lots of little short parts of videos and time it to the music. So the tools that are used in there are really made for the mobile phone. When you're working with the mobile phone, it's really made for that sort of record it on there, stitch it together on there. And a new feature called stitching has been added that allows you to do that in TikTok recently. And you can do that now in Instagram Reels as well. To be able to push together different parts of video, add lots of different fun effects to it, and choose from a very large library of music as well. You'll find though, when you go to search for the music, it's mostly laid out in today's music. So if you want to put in something like Brown Eyed Girl from Van Morrison, for instance, you might have to go digging down the deep cuts for that one. It's very much made for the kids of today to put on in their kind of stuff, but there is a huge library of literally millions of songs in there. You're likely to find the one you love as well. So if you're doing a rock and roll night at the local pub, you're going to find rock and roll in there too. Don't worry about that. The Beatles are definitely in that library. Just had a question from Simone asking if in September you can only go back to the classic Facebook. Will it eventually just always appear in the new Facebook format to all viewers? That is absolutely, so by the end of September, everyone will be permanently on the new layout. So the classic layout of Facebook that we have come to know and love, such as this, will disappear altogether by the end of September. So by the end of September, this will no longer exist and everyone will be swapped over. So what they're giving you a chance to do right now is to look through the things that are missing for you and that you can't find in the new version. And so you can then flip back and forward between them. So switching to the new Facebook to be able to see where things have changed and what they've changed to. So not everyone's going to come across this change easily. I know more than anybody, I've been taking it all month from people saying they hate the new Facebook. I guess I look at it this way: in a year's time, it won't be the new Facebook. And so it'll be completely the same as it is. Some little bugs I've noticed, if you're like me, that you use a lot of plugins to your browser. So in my Chrome browser here, I've got lots of extra plugins and extensions that I use as a web developer as well. A lot of those that modify pages will clash with the new Facebook for now. So I had like an image downloader which scans the page and lists out all the images on the page so I can download the images directly. That breaks Facebook. It just makes things really hard to load and slows it down terribly because it then has to go through and load all those pages. So little things like that, if you find there's little bugs, the things that don't work, the first thing to check, especially if you're using Google's Chrome, is to look at these things up here and disable them and then try and do what you're doing. And then bang, it'll work better. A question from Elaine saying, how do you make text bold in posts? That's a really good question. Let's go and have a look. So I'm going to go look at one of my pages. Because for me, this has been so hit and miss. It's been so hit and miss. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. So if I go to create that post, now quite often I find that if you do it first in say Word, where you can take across the formatting of H1s and H2s or headings and titles and that, it will inherit it into here just fine. If we go, this is the heading. And this is the text. Now, you would think that you'd highlight that and see if it does anything. So it's not doing it there. But if we go into the Creator Studio, where you've got a lot more control now, posting something here. So this is the heading. And this is the text. Get away from you. No, it's not giving it to me there either. But there's certain things you might be able to do, such, for instance, putting in, I'm going to try this for the first time, so bear with me. See if it allows me to do that. No. The number one way I usually do it, you can tell I haven't done this very often myself, is I just do it in Word first. So I do it in Microsoft Word first, then I'll just copy it straight in and inherits the settings from there. And I think that's a good practice anyway, is to write things out in Word, because you've got really good spell check and you've got the ability to be able to like get the word count so you can make sure you haven't gone too far over. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing on this page now. Type. So the heading I'm going to set to heading 1, and the text I'm going to put a couple of different things like a italic in there. I'm going to copy it from Word straight into here, and it hasn't done it for there. So yeah, that's another thing that I think is a little bit buggy. It's one of those things where sometimes it shows up and sometimes it really doesn't. There we go. Copy it in here. No, it just seems to be one of those things that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So I'd say that a lot of that's in testing as well. But if I flip back to old Facebook, I can almost guarantee it's going to work just fine. In fact, let's even test that theory. So as they're still bringing these things across, there's a very good chance that some of these features just haven't tested right to come across yet. Going to the old publishing tools. In we go. So I know there are quite a lot of very different looking things, like things that just don't quite add up the way you think that they should add up. The other way too is to do it. If you want to do formatted text, do it in notes and then copy it across, or just post it as a note, because the note anyway gives you a much bigger image area, a much wider image area. So I think that might be like a really good way of doing it, is just do it through a note, because then you've got the full feature to be able to work with. Like you've got not just heading and formatted text, but you've got the ability to do different kinds of headings as well. I've got a question from when you add alt text, Taryn saying, when you add alt text to images, do you just put a comma between different words? So this is really, really cool. Okay, so you're actually using alt text isn't tags. Alt text is a description. So what you're doing there is adding in literally, and web designers come across this all the time when they're putting what they call the alt text in behind an image. So the image isn't so much, let me go back to where we're adding that into the Instagram stuff. So Instagram people are very much all about tags, and they work in terms of tags. Alt text isn't tags. You can just hashtag for that and we'll do the exact same thing and make it searchable on Instagram. What we're looking for is a description for it. So it's making your Instagram photos searchable on Google way beyond it. So that you're looking for friendly, readable descriptions rather than just hashtags. So if we go into our publishing tools, all right, so go to create a post. No, not in there. Going to create a studio. Sorry, guys. Live ones are always a much harder one to do because you're getting asked very much on the spot questions. So if I'm going to go add in my Instagram stuff, pick up an old post. Let's say Grace. No, that's not a photo. I want a photo. Let me try a different one. Something I know I've posted myself. All right, so this one here. So if I wanted to go into the advanced, no, it won't let me, that's a story. There we go, this one. So I edit that post and I want to do the advanced settings and type on alt text. What the alt text is for, it's not so much a hashtag thing. It's more about saying, this is a photo of, I can't tell what's in the background, a person drinking beer, that sort of thing. So if you want to be found for that, and in this case, it might be something like you want to be found for a particular brand. So you want to go, if I'm working for Great Northern, a person drinking a Great Northern beer. So this gets carried across to Google Images, so that in your images will appear in the Google Images search and be able to be findable through those words or words that are very similar to them. So rather than going, the tag is going to be eggs, beer, bacon, lunch, dinner, you're thinking more of a sentence that describes it. So it's a description of the photo rather than hashtags that you would normally put in there, which comes to another great question, which we've got, should you use hashtags on Facebook or just Instagram? Simone, that is so good because hashtags are actually searchable on Facebook as well as Instagram. So if I go to Instagram or Facebook and I'm looking for, say, hashtag coffee lover, see how the search results come up? It actually does have search results for hashtags. Now that's always been there, but the general rule of thumb to most people is like, oh yeah, I don't know if that's a great photo to come up first. So if you wanted to use hashtags, you don't want to have a great big long line of them in Facebook, but you do want them on Instagram. Very, very recently, an update came through on Facebook that was actually saying that putting hashtags in has now been given an extra priority in Facebook, not just Instagram. Now, that's not permission for you to go and add in 300 hashtags of things that don't make any sense. This is great. Coffee lover, talking about coffee. Coffee, yeah, it's a coffee meme. You're starting to see like old coffee shops and coffee carts. That all makes sense to what coffee lover is. But if I see a post come up that's a photo of a person with their going, hey, I love coffee, but there's no coffee in it, I'm starting to get really, really crapped off about that. So what it would be is be relevant to what's actually in the photo. That's what hashtags are essentially meant to be. They're meant to be a way of helping to categorize what the photo is all about. Not just that. So if I was to type in, say, brand, like my Clickstarter brand, there's probably not going to be anything in there because we don't hashtag yet on here. Oh yeah, so someone's hashtagged me last year in something, and I hashtagged something recently about it. There you go. And that's a post I made about it back in July. That Facebook is actually pushing the use of hashtags now to increase your organic reach of your posts. So this could be a really great way to do it, particularly for events, to get more of that going through. So I wanted to go, what's an event? OBM, October Business Month. So if October Business Month, we're starting to see things that don't rely to that, but it'll be like a year ago because it was last October. So you start to see things that actually relate to that. But as you can see, there are now hashtags very searchable on Facebook, and it's becoming more prominent. Robin's saying you can't share another's post or a page as your business, and I'm having trouble sharing from the business page also. So the ability not to share a post as your page, Robin, could very much be to do with the privacy settings that someone's got that set. So if it's a post on another person's profile as opposed to a business page, that's all going to come down to what their settings are on their page and on their profile. So for instance, if I set a post to public, I can share that post as a business. I can share that post as almost anything I want to do. But if that is only set to being able to be seen by friends only, or by maybe close friends, then, and most people when they share something on Facebook are sharing it just to friends, not publicly, then you're not going to be able to share that as a business because your business is not a friend of that person. You personally are a friend, but your business is not. So I'd be having a look at that to see whether the post that they're sharing is showing up as being public or not. And you can see that by going, actually, what is the community notice board page, Robin? If you type that in, I'll do that live on the screen and we can have a look. Because if it's a community notice page, it could come down a lot to the sharing settings within that page as well. So Broom notice board. There it is. So let's go in there. So this is a group, not a page, I'm assuming. So what's in a group is private. So you won't be able to share things in that group to the general community because you have to be a member of the group. So for instance, I can't get in there unless I decide I want to join it, and I go through whatever the criteria is. So, you know, I might not have to actually be in Broom to be a part of it, but if I was to be part of that, then I would see it. So only people who are in the group will see that. And that's the point, I guess, of a private group, because it is actually a private group. Some are not, some are public groups. And if it was visible and open and public, then you might be able to share those out to the broader public as well, because anyone can see what's in there. So it's a private group. That's why you can't see that one. Are there any other questions that have come up just now? We're looking for link to a generator. Oh, that was a message to Elaine about why isn't Google spidering your Facebook page? That's a great question too, Robin. So why is Google not finding your Facebook page? Often that's because the Facebook page's settings itself are not set to do that. So I'm going to go into one of these pages, go into my settings. And in the general settings, you're going to see something in here that's to do with the page visibility. So the page is published. You've got to have that on. Obviously, it wouldn't be visible to anyone if it wasn't. And then we start to look at things like country restrictions. If you're restricted your page only to Australia, then Google's American spider isn't going to spot you. Then similarly where is it? Comment ranking. I know there's one in here somewhere. So these things like tagging, these are settings that often people have got set that make posts unshareable. So check those as well. Let me go. I think it was to do with privacy groups. Things move around so much in here. I can see why you all get like really annoyed at us sometimes for moving stuff around. Page info. There is a setting in here that actually tells that you can actually say whether your page is viewable on search engines or not. And I can't find it. Yeah, your preferred page audience. No, that's all gone to the general settings. So there's going to be a setting in here somewhere that has it so that you can actually make it viewable or not. Page updates. One thing too, this is a nice little setting which you might come up really handy for you. This page updates here. You know how every time you change your cover photo or your profile photo and it does a post and people see it and you don't want them to see that? Turn your page updates off. So page updates are if there's information about your page, such as a new phone number, a new address, a new profile picture, a new cover photo. And whilst they're really great things, you don't necessarily want it, if you're changing your cover photo every day, you don't necessarily want people to see that out in their feed. Just turn that off and that will stop it from publishing your page information being updated. So for instance, change the number and it says, oh, this page has changed their phone number, or this page has changed their website address. Those kind of things you don't necessarily want going out because they're not a very curated, very professional looking post. They're kind of like an information bar. Just uncheck the page updates. And that's something which will allow you to turn that off. I know it annoys the life out of me every time I do it and I go, oh, I didn't turn it off. No, that's horrible. Now the video on the Facebook cover doesn't automatically start. You have to press play. It used to play automatically in the old settings. I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to have to look at it. What's the name of the page? You've got a name of the page there, Elaine, that I can trust? Or is that the Broome Chamber of Commerce and Industry? I'll try that anyway. There you go, Broome Chamber, I guessed correctly. Let's see if it does. Is this a video? Probably not, that looks like an image. But I don't know what's the Lana Reed Productions, there we go. That's a great photo, by the way. There we go, so it started straight away for me. So that's good. It actually does start straight away. So I'd say what it might be is if you're using another browser like Firefox, Firefox by default doesn't allow automated video starts. And it might also be if you've got an ad blocker. So if you've got uBlock Origin or any of those ad blockers, they will actually stop it doing because it considers anything on Facebook video-wise that auto plays to be an ad, even though it's not. So those kind of things might be stopping you, but I do know that Firefox definitely stops it. I'm not sure about Internet Explorer or Edge. I don't use Edge browser because I use a Mac, but the Edge browser also has enhanced privacy features. So you may find there's a setting in Edge that will stop you from doing that. And back to Robin's thing about the spidering question, there's going to be a setting in there that you can turn off and on that. So for instance, if I look for my particular business, I should be able to, when I search it up, be able to see in Google my Facebook page. So there's a setting that's inside your page settings that will tell you whether or not you can, let me go into that page. I just can't remember where the setting is. I always thought it was in here, page info. Not in page info. It's somewhere in these settings. There is a setting where you can actually, let us know. But yeah, when I find that setting and I get offline, I'll send a message through to Elaine and to Lana to let them know what that setting was. I've been jotting down these questions that we've been going and come back to you what those are. So yeah, feel free to fire ahead a few more questions if you had, but that's a basic walk around of how this works. I wish I could give a better look at what Reels are, but Reels are basically, think of it as Instagram videos and Instagram stories, but in a method that gets very short, very entertaining stuff. There's some amazing ones that get out there. On Instagram Reels though, there's been a preference for Instagram to push Reels content forward a lot more. So we're finding that people who are using Reels on Instagram are getting way more exposure on Instagram than most others are. An example of a Reel might be, what's she called? The Relationship Coach, I think. Yeah, that's her, Rachel Jacoby. So she's doing almost all Reels at the moment because she's doing a 30-day Reels challenge with her Instagram coach, who is Brianna Curl, who's amazing. She's so good. So a Reel looks like this. So an example would be, So she's having a lot of fun with that, and it's a really fun thing to do. Probably the best one I saw of her do was the snapping to a different dress. And that's the reference I was making a little bit earlier. So play this one.
I want, be what I want, say what you want me to say. Like, I can pretend that I don't want it and I'm afraid.
So it allows you to stitch different parts of a video together so that you can have those kind of effects. So there's literally 2 separate videos she did, but she drags them together to the right point of the music, because you can see where that bit of the music is, and then be able to stitch it together. So it's just a really clever way of using music and motion to produce a really cool little video. So that's the basics of it. Now to access it within Instagram, this is going to be interesting trying to show you my phone screen here. So that was Rachel Jacoby, her name is. She's the relationship coach. So I'll just type it in here. She's someone who's based in Darwin. I know her because she's a friend of mine. So if you just look for Rachel Jacoby, the relationship coach, and I'll also point you towards Brianna. So she's Bree Designs. This girl here is like one of my queens of Instagram. She's an Aussie, used to be based in Darwin, now based in Melbourne. She made a mistake going there, didn't she? And she's got lots of like little trainings that she does, like little mini trainings you can do through her stories where you can learn a new skill. And so she's really, really great. She's fantastic that allows you to do it. So you can, post lots of different videos, stitch them together, and she's got lots of free tips, and she can be a coach as well and show you one-on-one how to do these things. She used to be available in the ASBAS Digital Solutions program as well, which is great, but not so much now. She's working in Victoria with their particular ASBAS, their ASBAS community. I had a question too, someone asking what spidering is. Basically, it's the process of a little bot going out on the internet and pulling information from lots of websites and sending it back to Google. So that's called spidering, because it's a spider that's crawling around the World Wide Web, gathering information and then indexing it onto Google where you can find it as a search. Taryn's asking, do I post video that's 15 seconds to a different part of Instagram than one that is 2 minutes IG? Yeah, so the beautiful thing is here, Taryn, if you post to IGTV, you can now do the whole thing where you do a longer bit just in regular Instagram, and we'll then take the longer bit that's over 15 seconds and put that into IGTV. So it'll automatically make it an IGTV thing. So you get that lovely thing where if it's a longer video of say 10 minutes and you've got like some really good content in the first 15 seconds, then yeah, you're able to then go, yep, okay, here's the meat and potatoes of what I'm trying to say in my video. And then it automatically goes over into the longer version on IGTV, and it'll prompt you in Instagram to tap a button to say, yes, take me to IGTV to watch the rest. So it's really, really cool. That's a very, very fun way of getting a much longer video out of a much shorter one. But what you do is make sure you plan ahead when you make those to get the most engaging bit you possibly can in that first 15 seconds to hook someone in enough to want to tap the button to go through to the longer one in IGTV as well. And Yuki's having trouble with uploading IGTV. I can't even upload even a video with MP4 and 16:9. I can't really troubleshoot that here for you right now, but Yuki, I really strongly suggest you pop into the Boost with Facebook Australia group. So I'm going to type it in here with Facebook Australia and ask some questions in there, because there's people in there. If I'm not in there at the time, someone else will be who can help you out with what to do with all that. And I'll at least can send you to, a place where you can diagnose it to see what's going on with it all. Natasha's popped out. Julie's saying, thank you very much. Look, thank you so much as well. If you've got some questions, I'm just going to pop my email address in here. So you can pop me a question anytime. I'll also put a link to my sexy LinkedIn page. Let's say it's sexy because it's at least complete and very filled out. This one here. I'll give you a link there so you can copy that in. LinkedIn's a really good place to grab hold of me, actually. Funnily enough, even though I'm working with Facebook, I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. So yeah, please send me through something on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to answer your questions there if I can. And if I can't, I'll at least point you to the right places to go to get the help that you need. Any questions, please feel free to send them through. It's been a pleasure to deal with you guys today. And if you've got things that you want to bring up at any point to do with Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and all that, we've got a whole stack of stuff we can do with you. So whether it's learning more about how to get better stuff out of Instagram, hopefully soon we'll get some lessons on Reels as well, and the Facebook Shops lessons will come through too. And we've got some great tourism stuff coming up. So if you're in the tourism sector, I've got some new insights coming through from Facebook in the next week that I'll be able to roll out as well. So if you're waiting to hear some stuff from what Facebook is doing with tourism and for tourism being such an affected industry right now, we've got some stuff coming up that's quite exciting that's going to be delivered in the next month, and I'll have those in the next week. So I'd love to be able to help you out with those as well. Have a fantastic Monday and a fantastic week ahead of you. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm going to probably go and have a little nap now. Thank you very much. And yes, it's been recorded, so I'll have the recording going through to Lana and Elaine at the chamber as well, so they'll coming through. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.